your take on what you're expecting from this inflation report. And also, we're going to hear from Jay Powell after that inflation report. Does that lessen the importance of this inflation report? Because we're going to hear what Jay Powell has to say about it immediately after.
Well, actually, you're going to have the data reinforcing what Chair Powell said yesterday. He's going to repeat the same thing again today, which is that inflation is not moving toward 2% as much as we thought. There's no need to hurry to lower rates, and we're going to stay pat until we see better improvement in the inflation data. Inflation data is hanging around since last fall closer to 3% than it is to 2%.
All right. So, again, Jay Powell going back to Capitol Hill to testify today. I want to talk to you about the impact of tariffs when it comes to inflation. We've heard from company leaders. We've seen some of the impact when it comes to other economic reports like PPI. Some business leaders kind of factoring in the idea of tariffs. We have new tariffs to consider. How are you viewing all this when it comes to the inflation picture?
You know, everyone is so worried that tariffs is going to be like the world's ending event for inflation. It's going to raise prices for everybody. It's going to worsen everything. And, you know, what happened last time when Trump raised tariffs? We could hardly see its impact on inflation, less than a quarter point over a 3-year period. And I say, oh, well, it's totally different this time because we are coming off of a high inflation period. But let's remember that this time Trump is being very smart in how he's applying the tariffs. They're really quite targeted. They're targeted to specific sectors like aluminum and steel, maybe specific countries like China. And more and more, we're seeing that tariffs are being used as a negotiating opening in order for Trump to get progress on not just economic objectives, but also foreign policy objectives and getting people to help us close our border. So tariffs are really serving a sort of like a multifaceted role in the Trump administration this time around. And I don't think we're going to see a lot of impact on inflation. Even the steel and aluminum that he put on. I mean, you know, yes, it is, you know, Canada gives us about half of the aluminum that we consume and maybe a quarter of the steel that we consume. But it really won't be pushing into consumer prices that much because there's quite a lot of profit margin between the raw material and the final product that consumers have to pay.
Bill, I do want to ask you, so it's not going to impact prices meaningfully. You think that companies are going to absorb the impact of tariffs? Is that basically what you're saying, that it won't really be passed on to consumers?
It's going to come in two ways. Remember, the importer is the person that pays for the tariff, but also there's a pricing power on the part of the exporter. If China or South Korea or Mexico wants to sell into the U.S. market, they may be willing to lower their prices just to be able to have a huge market for the excess surplus capacity that they themselves have. Steel and aluminum producers right now have a glut of production capacity, and if they don't sell in the United States, where are they going to sell it? So in that sense, I think there's quite a lot of room on the part of the exporter as well as the importers for lowering their profit margins.